in there. Specifics, though. What specifically changes with health policy? You talked generally in your speech, but Americans are asking what specifically changes in a country where health policy really hasn't changed a lot except for a lot of talk on Capitol Hill for the last 20 years. So what's different?
Well, unfortunately, there's nothing different in America today except for the skyrocketing costs of health care. First of all, the problem is not quality of health care. The highest quality health care in America, right here at Miami Children's Hospital. Problem is the cost of health care. It's not affordable and it's not available. So we have to take a long series of steps to fix it. And one of them is not a government takeover of the health care system, such as we have in Canada, England, and other countries. We need to have walk-in clinics. We need to have community health centers. We need to have outcome-based treatment of people with chronic diseases. Someone has diabetes, you give that provider a certain amount of money for treatment for a year. The treatment is good, then we reward them. We want to encourage home health care as opposed to long-term care facilities. We need malpractice reform. We need to put health care records online. Those are just a few of the major steps that we need to take in order to make health care affordable and available in America.
What about portability? It's one of the central concerns for millions of Americans who feel trapped in a job because there's no portability to their insurance.
You're exactly right. And one of the ways to do that is because even though by law they can take the health insurance, they can't afford the premiums. So give them access to basically a very high copay, in other words, payments that they have to make that protects them from at least a catastrophic illness, so they'll know that they have that comfort when they move from one job to another.
When Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama says to you in a presidential debate this fall, your plan doesn't make sense, it'll leave too many people falling through the cracks, we need some kind of universal health care that works in other industrialized countries, your answer will be?
Doesn't work well in other industrialized countries. In fact, that's why the highest quality health care in the world is in the United States of America. And then for somebody wealthy who lives overseas, they come to the United States for their health care. So it's not the quality of care. We've got to preserve the quality of care. If we have a government takeover of health care in America, then it'll be inefficient, it'll be wasteful, the quality will drop, and I say that with confidence because that's what happened in other countries where the government took over. We want to make it affordable and available. We want education affordable in America. We want housing affordable and available. We don't mandate those, and I'm not going to mandate that every American have health care, but it be affordable and available, and if they become catastrophically ill, they will have access to health care.
The headline today across America might be increasingly unaffordable America. Gas prices skyrocketing because of that. Food prices skyrocketing. And again, why can't critics rightly point to those on Capitol Hill for the last generation, including for a large part of that you, and say, we still don't have a sound energy policy, and it's the root of a lot of what's happening today. So what changes in a McCain administration?
Well, we do the things that I've been advocating and fighting for, eliminating the wasteful and pork barrel spending, these projects that have no value whatsoever that are the taxpayers' dollars. Senator Obama and Senator Clinton have sponsored hundreds of millions of dollars of earmarked pork barrel projects. I fought against the spending. I have fought against wasteful defense spending. I have fought and succeeded in many instances to make government more efficient and more responsive to people. If I was able to do that in the Senate, and I have a clear record of it, including working across the aisle with those of the other party in getting things done, I'm sure I can do a whole lot more as President of the United States.
What is the single biggest thing you would change and implement as a major, substantial change to America's energy policy?
The answer is obvious. Alternate energy, and nuclear power has to be part of it. We have got to eliminate our dependence on foreign oil. More than $400 billion a year of Americans' dollars go overseas to countries that don't like us. Some of this money goes to terrorist organizations, and I think Americans deserve a little tax break this summer. I think they ought not to have to pay the 18 cents a gallon tax on every gallon of gas that they fill up with. Senator Obama doesn't agree with that. I'd love to have low-income Americans, who are the ones who drive the most and the furthest, to have a little tax break this summer, just to maybe let them have a little more to do with their vacation.
Will you put a halt to biofuels when major publications from National Geographic to Time argue that right now biofuels are not only driving up the cost of food, worldwide but are not doing anything for global warming because the energy profile versus the land and the forests that are being knocked down to plant biofuels isn't adding up. Will you change that?
Of course not. But what I will do is stop the subsidies for ethanol, which I went to Iowa in the primary and said I did not support ethanol subsidies, and I will not eliminate the 55 cents a gallon tariff, extra price we put on imported ethanol from Brazil and other places. When we decided to subsidize ethanol, we distorted the market, so people went in the other direction. Of course, my record, again, is very clear. I am against agricultural subsidies. They need to be phased out, and that way the market won't be distorted.
Senator, how tough is it to run this fall when essentially people will say it's 4 more years of George W. Bush, 4 more years of a war without end that you support, and you're going to get 4 more years of a national debt that's spiraling out of control?
They'll judge me on my record and my vision. Americans, I'm happy to say, one of the virtues of having served a long time in this country. People know me. They know my position on climate change. They know my opposition for nearly 4 years to Rumsfeld's strategy in the war. They know my opposition to out-of-control spending, how and I fought as hard as I could against it, which Senator Obama and Senator Clinton did not do. They know my position, my knowledge, but most of all, I think they'll trust my judgment. We can't afford for the next President of the United States to go through some on-the-job training. I don't need it.
Senator, last quick question for a colleague, National Catastrophic Fund. Do you support expanding that for windstorm, earthquake, flood, and fire? A lot of concern about that here in Florida on the hurricane side.
As I told you, I did not support, and I campaigned in the primary here, I did not support that bill that was passed through the House of Representatives, which would never pass the Senate, which had about a $40 billion price tag on it. What I do support is the state's governors, who are all subject to these catastrophes, I'm particularly talking from all the way to Texas, that they join together. We look how we can establish risk pools that all of these fiscal burdens can be shared. And I look forward to working with Governor Christ and Governor Jindal of Louisiana and Governor Riley of Alabama and Governor Haley Barbour of Mississippi and all of those governors, so we can join together and come up with a true way to give people the confidence that they need that they will not lose everything in the event of another natural disaster. And I'm going to fix FEMA too.
Senator, thank you very much for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for taking time to
appreciate
talk to us,
it. Sir. Great to see you.
You as well, sir.